Think Monaco. Think this. Not this, but sometimes you have to take the rough with the smooth as we headed to the Riviera a little early for an FE exclusive ahead of the latest date on the race calendar. Welcome to round 5 of the Formula E season and street races first. This week we thought we'd bring on a very special guest presenter to show us round a place that he calls home. Oh, and he just so happens to be one of the biggest names in the sport.
And here comes the Brazilian across the line now. Lucas Di Grassi takes his first Formula E pole position.
It feels great to be the first winner in Formula E.
Here comes Lucas Di Grassi. It's victory for Di Grassi in Mexico.
Fantastic, Lucas, fantastic.
Lucas, thank you so much for joining me on the show, fresh from your win in Mexico.
Yeah, well, welcome to my city. Sorry about the not so good weather. Shall we go for a drive?
Yes, let's see the city. Come on. It's my first time here. I can't believe the views. From these apartments up here, they've got a killer view.
Yeah, exactly. If you look at the wall where the palace is, and
amazing.
Monaco is really small. It's only 4 kilometers in length.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So every time I go running, I go out of Monaco and back to Monaco.
Clearly, this car is not an electric car, is it?
It's not an electric car. It's one of the fastest Audis out there. But actually, we are currently on a project to make an electric car which will be faster than this one.
Oh, wow.
People underestimate how fast electric cars they actually are. They actually can be.
So it seems like a really cool place to live, Monaco. Is it as cool as it looks?
Yes. Monaco is pretty cool. The weather today is quite bad again, but normally we are already almost in summer, and it just makes such a big difference for training, for all the exercise, all the sports, water sports that I like to do.
This place is like a movie set.
Yeah, that's a casino, and then here you have the Hotel de Paris,
Nice.
Café de Paris, everything that is very famous. So where we're coming here, we are just below the palace.
Oh,
the
wow, really?
Yeah. So the palace is here. You can
Yes.
see the tunnel is all carved in pure rock.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
it is amazing. It's like being in a cave. So the race in Monaco at the weekend is going to be quite interesting. There's now only 5 points between you and Sebastian.
Yeah, that's true. It's 5 points, but again, the championship is still a long way to go. We have to focus on getting more points, and maybe 5 in front, not 5 behind.
It sounds like you never get too carried away with all this. You're always thinking, no, focus. And
Yeah, I think that's how we have to approach racing. If you start thinking about all the possibilities and I need to win this, I need to do that, you end up overdriving or underdriving and not extracting the best what you can do. It's as simple as that. So that's it. We are at the start-finish line of the world-famous Monaco racetrack that will have the Formula E race.
will you give me a tour of this in a minute?
Let's go around.
Brilliant. We'll come back to that in just a second. But first, with it being such a big event this weekend, of course, it attracts a lot of big names. So Mark, big weekend in a place you're very familiar with.
Looking forward to it. It's the first time I've seen a race, Formula E race, so obviously as you say, it's happy hunting ground for me here. It's a beautiful venue in Monaco. And all the teams are very well presented, obviously. It's getting more and more strength, Formula E, so it's good to come and witness it.
Naomi, very excited to see you here today. You looking forward to it?
I am. My first Formula E race. And I think Formula E is the way of the future. It's going to get rid of, replace all the cars of combustion. I mean, it's supporting the planet and climate change, when temperature's rising. And I love what Alejandro's done. I'm so happy to be here. It's great.
Slightly shorter track than Formula One and a different route as well.
Yeah, obviously they have to stay on the lower section, obviously, because it's actually, quite long and technical up the top if you involve the whole circuit for the Formula E cars. So I think it's a sensational little balance. Obviously, they still get a big flavour of the bottom end of the circuit here. There's still a lot of chances to make mistakes. There's penalties as well, you know, in terms of for a driver errors. So yeah, it's definitely still Monaco.
Would you get an electric car?
Absolutely, I think everyone should have an electric car.
What about this, just being in Monaco and the glamour of being
I love being in Monaco. There's nothing more glamorous, is there really?
It's one of the most competitive categories in the world right now in terms of driver standards, because there's an absolute top notch of youngsters and also some experienced guys. Obviously you've got, you know, Sebastian Buemi, Lucas Di Grassi, you know, some of these guys who are super experienced, still very quick. So a really good mix, as you said, of hot talent in this championship right now.
So plenty of familiar faces around this weekend, and as you can see, the weather is a lot kinder. But let's go back to last week and that lap of the track. I'm excited to see the track because obviously it's world famous.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Monaco Race. I think it's one of the few racetracks that actually we share with other races.
You're very excited to be back.
Okay, so that's the pit lane.
The pit lane?
There, and this is like the starting grid you can see on the floor.
Yes.
All the marks. Yeah, you have about 200 meters to the braking of the first corner. So Formula 1 goes up all the way to the casino.
Yes.
And we go down here, which is track specifically designed for Formula E to be shorter, so we can do more laps in the race.
Oh, nice.
So it's one of the longest races. So here we turn around like 180 degrees, more or less like we're doing now,
yes.
but there is no cafe on the inside. So from this point onwards is the same track as F1
Formula 1,
or any other racing, or a racing that has been here. So this is the Tabac corner, very fast left. And you can see the tarmac very smooth here. This corner is actually the fastest corner on the track. It's a flat out, it's called the entry of the swimming pool, or the first part of the swimming pool. It's like a left, right, very quickly. The pits are here.
Yep.
So people can watch actually this part of the track from the pits too. Yeah, and then here is the braking for the famous Rascasse corner.
Okay.
You brake, very wide entry, and that's the last corner of the track. Going into the main straight. The city revolves around the track, and it's just an iconic, amazing racetrack. I'm so happy that we're back.
So that's how the track looked a week earlier. Let's see how it played out in qualifying on race day. Lucas Di Grassi was 5th fastest in qualifying, so squeezed into the final spot for Super Pole, so was first to go in deciding the top 5 starting positions on the grid. And the Brazilian proved quicker than his compatriot Nelson Piquet Jr., the slightest of errors costing the next EV driver. The 3rd fastest had been defending champion Sebastian Buemi, looking for his first pole of the season for Renault Edams. And after his lap, the Swiss was on target to do so, edging out Di Grassi. With 2 drivers left who could beat Buemi, Mauro Engel's chances of securing pole for Venturi were scuppered when he clipped the barriers. And fastest in qualifying, Jean-Eric Vergne couldn't replicate that, for Techeetah settling for 4th. So it's the championship's top 2 on the front row, setting up the perfect showdown to the weekend. So Lucas, 2nd place there on the grid. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, front row is always good. I had a good qualifying, but here in Monaco it's extremely difficult, very challenging. The race is very long, so we are in a position to fight for the win, which was what we wanted since the beginning of the weekend.
Now we've seen what you like in race mode. Let's have a look now to how you chill out.
So, this is it.
This is fantastic. I'm loving this.
Let's go for a ride.
This looks a little bit hairy. Okay, thank you. Woo! Brilliant. Okay, where to, Captain?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Well, this is absolute paradise, isn't it?
Yeah, Monaco is an amazing place to live. You have everything you need, and you have this beautiful ocean in front of you that you can actually do a lot of water sports. You can train, you can see the mountains, you can go on the bike. I mean, there's so much stuff to do.
Is it really relaxing in between races? Do you feel like you need that downtime?
There is not much more like relaxing between races. Basically, there's a lot of PR, testing, simulator work all the time. And also I need to train to get fit for the races, so yeah.
Yeah, you spend hours in the gym, I know this. How many a week was it?
I spend about 10 hours a week. For a racing driver, people don't realize it's extremely warm. You're in extreme G forces. You're fully concentrated, so your heart rate is like really high. So you need to get fit, and that makes a difference in performance.
And then when you're out here on the sea, I know you've got a few gadgets around, haven't you?
I used to surf a lot, and in Monaco we don't have so many waves. So actually I have something to show you.
Tell me about this thing, it looks quite exciting.
Yeah, well, basically it is like a mini version of a jet ski, yeah? So you have the engine, you have the propeller, you control the power here, and then you go surfing.
Okay, that looks amazing.
Oh, good?
Yeah, very good.
Help me with that.
Yes, thank you. That looked like a lot of fun, was it?
Yeah, it was cool.
You made it look easy.
I never rode it with such a condition.
Awesome. Right, we'll let you get dry and...
Yeah,
ooh,
let's get changed.
Steady.
Cool.
Well, we didn't exactly get the best of the weather, but I'm not going to complain. It was a lovely way to spend the afternoon. However, after the break, it's down to business as the lights go green for race 5. This week on Street Racers, we're in the stunning setting of Monaco for round 5 of the season and home to our special guest presenter, Lucas Di Grassi, who's next to face some quickfire questions. Favourite animal?
The mantis shrimp.
A shrimp! What was your childhood ambition?
To live out of the sport that I love.
And your adult ambition?
To build a better future for society.
Sporting hero?
Ayrton Senna.
Toughest opponent?
Currently Sebastian Buemi.
Favourite country?
Brazil.
Greatest strength?
Discipline.
Your worst habit?
Traveling too much.
What's your teammate's worst habit?
Making videos all day long.
Best moment in Formula E?
Last win in Mexico.
Which superhero would you be?
I don't know which superhero, but I would control time.
Ah, nice. Favourite band or singer?
The Weekend, currently.
What's your best dance move?
Best dance move is... I can do like a dolphin type of stuff.
Who would you want to play you in a movie?
A guy with the same looks, so I would say probably Leonardo DiCaprio or Brad Pitt.
Have you got any hidden talent we don't know about?
I'm a very good ping pong player.
Broken any bones?
Yes, many. All the bones of my left foot, 6 ribs, and maybe 7 ribs. I broke my collarbone, I broke a couple fingers, and some vertebrae too.
If you weren't a racing driver, what would you be?
An engineer.
And something that you've never done before that you'd love to try?
Parachute jumping.
Oh, quick one. Any superstitions before a race?
0.
A fascinating insight there into how your mind works. Definitely wasn't expecting you to say shrimp as your favourite animal. But now it's back to business and your focus is on back-to-back wins.
Yeah, after Mexico was such a roller coaster, coming from the back of the grid to the win. I had to use all my experience to pull that win out. But to be honest, I had a little help from a friend of mine. So here we are in Monaco. 5th round of the World Championship for Formula E. Monaco is actually known to be difficult for overtaking. And you did a pretty good job in Mexico, yeah?
Yeah, no, we had lunch to celebrate.
One of the reasons I won is because you managed to hold up everybody using much less energy. So you're just like using energy in the right places. That was pretty cool. I really analyzed that.
I don't know, it's one of these things where you're in the car and you stay very cool and it seems like people behind get very nervous. And so they keep on repeating and doing the same mistakes, and instead of attacking in the right place, they lose their cool. And I think Sam was the only one who took just one lap in the end and really found the spot, prepared it, and I couldn't do much.
Everybody thought that the last safety car, the 3rd safety car, helped us.
No,
because we saved let's say, 2 laps of energy. But what people don't realize was that we had a gap of 30 seconds. And in Formula E, you can relate directly energy to lap time. And 30 seconds of gap the equivalent is not 2 laps of safety car. We needed to have maybe 10 laps of safety car to be good for us, not 2.
Exactly.
So how your season has been going so far?
I think the season we've seen that we've got some performance in the car. We've got some speed in the race especially, but we've not been able to put it together. So unfortunately, you scored points only in Hong Kong and Buenos Aires. But what about you? You always manage to find a way to be on the top, even when it seems that you struggle at one point.
Last year was a bit easier for us in a way, because I think we were the second best team by far. Like DS, like you guys, Mahindra, everybody stepped up massively from season 2. If you do one mistake in qualifying, you're sure to be on the back.
What works now really well in Formula E is the battery is the same for everyone, and especially the chassis, the downforce, the aero, the tires. And so all the focus and the development and the money spent on development can be spent on something that's relevant.
For this weekend, what you're looking for?
I really want to be back on the top 5, score big points. I think we've shown in the last race that the pace is there. We've learned a lot from the last couple of weekends, worked a lot, and I'm sure that we'll be able to pull something like that. That's what we're going for. What about you?
I think the same, big points. I need to keep scoring. I need to keep the consistency to be able to fight for the title.
That anyway.
No, but it's not easy. If I can decrease a little bit the championship lead, that would be already a winner weekend.
Awesome. Good luck.
Thank you for you too.
Well, it's almost crunch time. Lucas and Jerome are getting ready on the grid. We've got a full grandstand behind me, but there's just enough time to hear from a motorsport legend. Johnny, it's great to have you here in Monaco with us. What do you make of the driving so far?
Love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it sort of brings me back to sort of my days in like Formula Ford and even karting before that, because coming through here, it's the exit of the swimming pool at the back of the pitch, banging over the curbs, there's a big scraping going on underneath the monocoque, then the tyres are making a right squelching noise as well. There's a couple of clangs on the barrier at the same time. The cars are moving around all the time, so you've got to be so precise and you've got to have that focus really sort of all the way through the lap. And I love that. That's what racing is all about, is actually getting the best from yourself, which then enables you to slot the car through these barriers here in Monaco.
It is just as thrilling as any other type of racing, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's what these guys and even myself, when we started our sort of journey back in the karting days, you know, that's where we sort of honed our sort of skills. And as things sort of went up and then you got to Formula One, the racing was always that little bit different than what it was. The wheel-to-wheel battles never happened as much. It hasn't been so bad over the last couple of years. But then when you come to an event like this, it's something where that excitement, those hairs on the back of your neck start to stand up. And I think that's why it's so popular, because it's new, the technology's new, it's into road cars, now it's on a racetrack. It's completely different. The driver's got to think, because they've got to save the energy at the same time, which I think is a skill that you need to have as a driver.
One thing I want to just quickly ask you about, there is a bit of a battle going on. We have Sebastian Buemi and we have Lucas Di Grassi. There's certainly going to be some tension today on the track.
It's just a fascinating situation where you have these top drivers, a lot of unpredictability that is going to come our way. And I think that's the important thing, because we don't know, when you talk about those, Di Grassi, how that's going to sort of work out, because
it's a long way to go.
It's a long way to go, exactly. But the more points you can sort of generate, the easier that's going to be for you down the line.
So Lucas, any last thoughts before the race now?
Just try our best. Of course, we're going to go for the win, but most important than that is to do what we can and collect as most points as possible.
Of course, Seb's the man to beat at the moment. He's in pole position. Let's see how the race pans out.
Closest to the camera, to the left-hand side. Your pole sitter, Sebastian Buemi. On the right-hand side, Lucas Di Grassi, first and second in the championship. 5 lights go on, and we are racing immediately, and a very good start from Di Grassi. Tucks right in behind Buemi. He's got to hold off Nelson Piquet. Trouble behind. Piquet locks up behind Di Grassi. in the second turquoise and black car. Little bumping and boring. Somebody's going to lose a wing. There's a bit of virgin bodywork trailing off Sam Bird's rear end, but they're all safely through corner one. Well, everybody thinks the inside line, like Piquet tried there, as Di Grassi gets right underneath Buemi and makes some damage on the back of the Renault Edam's car. Look at the multicoloured red, yellow, green car of Lucas Di Grassi in second place. He's got Nelson Piquet Jr. all over the back end. Piquet in the barriers. Now, we've seen that in qualifying. Piquet may have damaged the rear wheel, rear suspension already. Oh, and Bird in the wall, and that's a really big impact into Tabat. Back end broke away, and it's right.
Serious damage to the right rear corner at the moment. He's going to have to pit. Yeah. Really sliding the car around.
Well, look at the way that they're using the power on the right-hand side. The brake will come up on the telemetry, 50% battery left, and on the bottom right, regen. As you hit the brakes, it starts to turn the brake. The movement of the car basically drives a dynamo which charges the battery up fractionally, and then you can draw on that as you bring in that boost afterwards.
The battle continues on the racetrack. Very different view of these legendary streets.
Oh, he's tagged in there. You can see that coming there.
Rosenqvist into the back of the car of Maro Engel.
They're very, very close. Turn one again. He's blocking on the inside, Nelson.
Whoa, and Van's going to get him this time. He's got the overlap. He's got the overlap. He's going to force the issue. Piquet's still there. Van through. He's going to go Heidfeld.
What the is wrong with him? Didn't leave me any room at all.
Watch the front wheel of Nelson Piquet's car on the exit of this double right-hander.
I mean, he's in front here at this moment, and then, yeah, they just touch the front wheels, and that's what brings the rear together and forces him out.
Looking at this from the team's perspective is interesting. You've got one of the two Renault Edam's cars in the top 10 in a position to score points, and that's just Sebastian Buemi, because his teammate Nico Prost is out of the boat. But both of the Audi Scheffler Team Abt cars for Di Grassi and Abt are in the top 10. Same for the two Mahindra cars of Nick Heidfeld in third and Felix Rosenqvist in sixth.
Our championship protagonists once more duking it out here for perhaps the most famous racetrack in single-seater racing. And Di Grassi, has he still got fan boost to go? How is he going to get by Sebastian Buemi? Has Buemi done enough to keep him bottled up? 2 turns to go. Buemi's just got to hug the inside. Di Grassi's not close enough, is he? Can he get into the line? The sprint to the checkered flag is too short. It is going to be a 4th win of the year for Sebastian Buemi. 4 out of 5 for the Swiss driver. Renault Edam's claim victory. Lucas Di Grassi in 2nd place.
I finished right on the limit of the energy, and Lucas was very quick today, so yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, that's really the race you want to win, and that's the race you want to start on pole, and we did the 2 things, so it's good points after Mexico. It was a hard one, so I'm very happy. Clearly, you know, we made up some good points, but Lucas is always there, so it's not going to be easy for us, but we try to gather as many points as we can, and when we get to New York, we'll see.
There you go, Sebastian Buemi lifts the trophy. The 2nd ever Formula E Monaco E-Prix goes, as the first did, to Sebastian Buemi.
So, confirmation of the result with Mahindra's Nick Heidfeld completing the podium for a 2nd time this season. The win stretches Sebastian Buemi's lead at the top of the championship to 15 points over Lucas Di Grassi, with Buemi's Renault teammate Nico Prost a long way back in 3rd.
Well, after all that excitement, let's take a quick breather and get some reaction to the race.
Despite the frustration of his early exit, Jean-Eric Vergne was philosophical about not picking up points in Monaco, instead applauding his Techeetah teammate Esteban Gutierrez for doing so. Also in the points were both the Mahindra drivers, much to the delight of their team. 2nd place for Lucas Di Grassi was still reason to celebrate for Abt Scheffler. But once again, it's Sebastian Buemi praising his Renault Edam stable for a 4th win of the season.
Well, that's it from Monaco. A big thank you to our special guest presenter, Lucas Di Grassi. Your champagne soaked.
Soaked in champagne, but it's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Tell me about it quickly. How was that for you?
It was a great race. We tried everything we could, especially in the last lap, inside, outside. We crossed the line within tenths from Sebastian. But yeah, here it's very difficult to overtake. So I think we collected good points. We did what we had to do, and we go for Paris for more fights.
Absolutely, no rest for the wicked. We'll see you next time in Paris,
exactly,
where the battle continues. Well done for today.
Thank you.
Well done.
We are in for a stunning Paris E-Prix.